Suppose you're like me, ambitious but often fall into the trap of laziness. In that case, this video is specifically crafted for you. Do you ever feel like you have big goals but you don't do anything about them? You understand precisely what actions you need to take to get you to that next level, but for some reason you find yourself just sitting there, not moving forward. Because I myself have been there just like you. Why do I find it so effortless to waste time but I struggle to be productive? Why do I have energy to do some things but the things I have energy to do are not the things that truly matter? If you've ever asked yourself any of those questions, keep watching because in this video, we're going to fix that. Do you ever just zone out on your phone for like 3 hours straight, scrolling, watching random videos, but then the second you think of doing something productive like maybe reading or studying for that test that's coming up, or starting that new project you have, it feels like you're trying to lift a car? That's because you're not lazy, you are overwhelmed. Think about it. You want to do these things. You want to get better grades, you want to learn that skill, you want to start that project that has been pending. But when you look at, the whole picture, it looks very massive. And then you say to yourself, how am I ever going to get all this done? Your brain isn't fighting against work. It is fighting against the feeling of doing something it has never done before, which that alone feels very scary. So basically, your brain is just trying to tell you, nope, not today. Here's the trick I learned. You have to trick that brain of yours. So don't try and tackle the whole mountain at once. Instead, I want you to focus on taking that first step. Instead of I need to fix my entire life, say, okay, I'm going to do one push-up. I'm going to write one sentence of that essay. I'm going to practice one chord of my guitar. Taking that first step can be incredibly empowering. Think about building a Lego set. If you dump all the pieces on the table and then look at the final picture, it can feel very scary, right? But then, if you were to follow the instructions step by step, you'll see that it will feel less intimidating. And that same thing applies to your goals. Why can you game all night? No problem. But the second you try to do something useful, you feel like you're about to crash. And that's because your brain is addicted to dopamine, which is like your brain's reward button. Do you know how you get those little satisfaction hits when you're scrolling TikTok or maybe Instagram? That's dopamine. Your brain is like, oh, that's nice. But studying, working out, those things don't give you that instant reward. They take time. And your brain is like, where is my dopamine hit? Your brain is wired for instant gratification. It's like a kid in a candy store. It wants all the easy stuff. Here's what I did. Before I let myself scroll, game, or do anything that gives me that dopamine hit, I had to do just 5 minutes of something productive. 5 minutes of reviewing your notes for that science test, 5 minutes of practicing your free throws, 5 minutes of brainstorming ideas for your YouTube channel. At first, to be honest, it felt dumb. Like, what's 5 minutes going to do? But after a while, I noticed that my brain started to change. I began to enjoy the feeling of getting things done, like how I would level up in a game. Sometimes you have to hit the reset button on that your brain, and I would recommend you try a dopamine detox for maybe a day or two. And with that process, you will have to cut out all the instant gratification stuff, like no more scrolling, no gaming, no eating of junk food. And just a heads up, it is going to be very, very challenging. But one thing I'll tell you is that process will help you appreciate the feeling of real accomplishment. So you're doing your 5 minutes and feeling good, but then all of a sudden your motivation runs out. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's because you're relying on motivation instead of systems. Yeah, I won't lie. Motivation is a tricky thing. It's like a firework. It's incredible for a minute, but then it's gone. You can't rely on motivation. It's not consistent. It's like you trying to power the house you're currently living in with lightning strikes. Systems, that's the key. Systems are like autopilot for your brain. Create little rules for yourself instead of waiting for motivation to show up. So now let's say you want to work out. You can lay out your gym clothes a night before. Or if you want to study, you can set a timer for a specific period of time you will actually study for. No distractions, no phones. Or let's say you want to wake up early. You can set your alarm for when you will go to bed, not when you will wake up. Think about your favorite YouTuber. They don't just make videos for you when they feel like it. They have a schedule and a system. Okay, you've got your systems, you're making progress, but then, bam, you are back to scrolling. you're back to procrastinating, you are repeating those same old habits you thought you've stopped. Why do you think this keeps on happening? That's because your identity is holding you back. Think about it. If you keep telling yourself you are lazy, then most likely you will act like someone that is lazy. So it's more of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your brain believes what you tell it. If you keep telling yourself you're not good at doing something, then you will start believing it. Change the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, I want to be more disciplined, tell yourself, I am disciplined. Instead of saying, I will try, tell yourself, I will. So basically, remove the try. Think about someone you admire, someone really successful. And side note, it doesn't have to just be material success. And if you can see that they didn't get to wherever they are now by mistake, or it just happened for them, they had to become the person that can actually achieve those goals they are currently living at the moment. You have to become the person you want to be. It's just like putting on a new skin. You have to act like the person you actually want to become. Now you know why you've been stuck, but knowing isn't enough. If you don't take action, nothing changes. That's why the next step is to make discipline so fun that laziness isn't even an option. I'll show you exactly how in the video on the screen. And remember, the path is yours to walk. And as always, I'm in your corner rooting for you.